Hey there, everybody. Robert Taylor with Wonderscape Creations, continuing on with our crafting system with Narrative Pro. So before we create that final widget, while I was closing out windows one by one to make sure I had everything, realized we never finished the button because we needed everything that was in the not the instigator, the inspector. So now that we have everything, let's go ahead and get that code quickly written so that we can do everything that needs to be done. So the first thing we will grab is from the crafting inspector, we will get the crafting component. That's right, I call it crafting reference. And then from there is recipe locked. To which, strangely enough, we get the recipe right there. Let's go ahead and grab that recipe there. We're going to search for it. And obviously, at this point, you know what to do. We need to get a branch. And if it is true, display name, not display name, we don't need display name. We need the crafting inspector, button use, set button text. We're going to set it to craft. See, that one, super easy. If false, we actually need to get this again, just like this, copy paste. This time we'll put that under the line here. And then the text we need to select. And we'll be getting the recipe. And we'll break out of that. And then the discovery will break out of that. Place that in the bool. We'll hide all unconnected pins. Now, if it's true, craft. If it's false, yeah, we will do format text. In here, we will type curly bracket, points, curly bracket, research points needed to unlock. At which point, we can get this, plug it into there, and we are setting the button just like that. And last but not least, get, no, we need the recipe, but that's not where we're going to get that from. Get recipe data, just like that. And we are plugged in. There, now everything is set up how it needs to be. So lastly, we need to set up the main widget. So let's go ahead and come down here to the user interface, widget blueprint. We are going to be looking for the narrative activable widgets, WBP, crafting menu underscore WC. Perfect. And we will open that up. And now we need to set it up. Now, first things first, we want an overlay. And this overlay, sure, yeah, nothing is modified in the overlay. We will then get a background blur. Select that. We put the blur strength at 5. And we also make sure we fill it up. There we go. You can see we got a blur. And that's it for that. Next, we want a common border. The common border we will fill as well. We're going to put Widgets. I know I'm spelling that wrong or pronouncing that wrong. Okay. We want to make sure that everything is correct from this point on. The padding. Yep. Okay, we are good to go. Next, we want another overlay that we put in the overlay. And we will fill and fill with another common border. Now it's important for you guys to understand that I'm following exactly how the menus were made with narrative. I don't necessarily fully understand. So we want solid invert. Why they made the choices that they did. All I do know is that it's what they want there. Look at that. We got the blue. And because I want to make sure that it is as uniform with Narrative Pro as possible for all you users, is why it's set up this way. Once I do make my own UI, I'll certainly do more videos on UI itself. So please don't ask questions on why we have so many steps on certain things, because I haven't a clue at the moment. Next, we want a vertical box. If I can spell vertical. Vertical box we want stretching out like that. And the padding, we have 40, 40, 40, 80. Right. And now we'll have a horizontal box. We want it to fill. Now we want our crafting recipe list. Select that right here. I put padding on the top. Left and up. And I made this one is focusable. You'll see why in a bit. Then we want, this is under activation. We want auto activated and auto restore focus set. File and save. Then I have a spacer. I simply made the change right here of 50 to put some space in between them. And then I've got a size box here. The size box I have set to fill. To the left, center. The width override at 425. The height override at 600. Then I have my crafting inspector. And there. Come over here to the crafting inspector. First we'll check mark that. We also are going to want the recipe list check marked. Let's go back into the crafting inspector real quick. Okay. All right. Everything is now as it should be. Let's go into the graph. There's a few things we need to do in here. And none of them are these, so we can delete those. So first, event on activated. Let's right click to add call to parent. But before we do that, we want to get the crafting recipe list and activate widget. And then on, there's two things here that we need. Event on removed from focus path and event on deactivated. Right click, add call to parent, fill that in, right click, add call to parent. Now we want to get our crafting widget again, pull out, deactivate widget. Now we have one more functionality to set up. Event on added to focus path. We want call to the parent. We're going to put a gap right here though. We need to create a function. And we will call it get all buttons. And this is needed obviously so that we can get all the buttons. Because if you recall in the button, which I have open right here, we have the crafting inspector, but we don't set it anywhere. And the reason we haven't set it is because we haven't needed to set them yet. We do that here in the crafting menu. We make sure that every button created gets a reference to the inspector. So first we need to get the crafting recipe list. We'll get the category wrap box. Get all children. For each loop. Now we will cast to category list WC. Get subcategory wrap box. Get all children for each loop. At which point we will then cast to subcategory. Get the recipe wrap box. Get all children for each loop. And now we will cast to crafting item button. Set crafting inspector. And we will get our crafting inspector. There we go. And now it is all built and should be working as it is now. So next I'll be going over the step-by-step on how it's all connected, obviously doing it in this episode. Then in the following episode, we're going to confirm that everything works by making a couple of items for us to pick up, and also gaining recipe points and things like that. That way we can make sure and guarantee that everything is working as it should be. So let's go ahead and make sure you all understand. I'm going to close this up real quick. Reopen the menu. So how this works is everything in the recipes is automatically populated. How it's all automatically populated is if we come in here, where is it? Maybe I have it in there to pro game mode. In the player state. We come in here to the crafting component, and we have right here crafting categories. So we create the category, we create the subcategory, we create the recipes, and we go from there, right? Then when we open the crafting menu, the recipe gets all the categories. I mean, the recipes widget gets all the categories, the subcategories, and the recipes that are connected with them, and populates everything and separates them between category, subcategory, and then the actual recipes. When you click on one of them, this will open up. It is currently invisible upon opening. And the reason for that, if we open up the crafting inspector, if you recall, we have right here event on deactivated. So because it's not activated yet, it's hidden. It doesn't activate until we click on a button, which, if you recall, we have right here in the button. The very first thing we do is we activate the widget for the crafting inspector, which then makes it visible. Now, once the recipe button is clicked, like I said, it activates the widget. It checks to see if you can craft, if you need recipes points rather, if it's been discovered. If it has been discovered, it'll just automatically say craft. If it hasn't, it's going to find whether it's been discovered, and if it has, make it true. If it hasn't, points research. It tells us how many points we need to unlock. At which point, we then, through the inspector, get the recipe data. So once we've got that recipe data, we load it in so that we can update the widget of the crafting inspector. And we populate the recipe data, which is incomplete at the moment. We don't have what's called images. And then we create the material stat widget, which if I pull this in right here, hit play, is this. Populates these for us, just like that. I'll leave this open for us, and it creates it for us. And slam bam, thank you ma'am. We're good to go there. Everything is now loaded. Now, if we click the button use, which is this, it will now see if the recipe can be unlocked, because we're checking to see if it's locked. Then it'll unlock it and change it to craft, or it won't, and it'll say that we can't. And if we are able to actually craft, it's been discovered. Now we're going to load the recipe data, and this is in the crafting asset, the crafting component, which then does all of the information for us. Checks again to make sure that it's unlocked, and this is checking on the component side instead of the widget side. So it does everything that it needs to right here. Excuse me. This is what sets it to unlocked for the widget. That way we know that we can do it. Next, we load it in and check, can we craft it? So obviously, load recipe data is needed in order for us to see if the recipe is unlocked. But now we need to see, do we have everything we need to craft it? So we check the inventory. I think I missed something here. I certainly did. Let me find it 1 second. Let's see here. Yep, missing the most important thing. Craft item. See, and this is why we go over everything. Then we get item to craft. There. This is in the crafting component when we're checking can craft. We jump into the crafting of the item. We'll craft it. We'll add it to the to our inventory, and then we're going to call on crafted, and we do that right here on crafted. So now it updates the material widget, which is right down here. So the circle continues. It's an endless loop that only has one entry point for each button, so we don't have to worry about anything. I hope that helps you better understand it. As I was saying here with the recipes, if we come to my actual project, this is what I'm talking about. Weaponsmithing is the category. One-handed axes is the subcategory. And then here's primitive axe. Herbalism is the category. Bandages, potions. So this is all automatically generated based off of our acting component. So, like I said, in the next episode, we are going to create a couple of recipe data assets, and we're going to create a few materials items for it, and we will make sure everything populates as it should. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.